Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Come on in. Come on in. Like, share, subscribe. Come on in. Another episode of Car Chronicles. Come on in. We have some things to talk about. Come on in. Come on in. Like the video. Like, share, subscribe. Listen, we got some things to talk about. I have some messages to relay from President Donald J. Trump. Come on in here. We are going to talk about this situation with student loans. Listen, Trump said, we got bills to pay. We need money. He like, we need money and we gonna find it. Trump is trying to do, what was that? Who was that locked them people recently? Never mind, I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that alone because there was like this pastor who they were saying had locked the people at the church to collect money. Trump said, listen, you ain't getting this degree if you got an outstanding bill. I don't care how many hours you studied, how many years you put in. You need to pay this bill. Come on in. We're going to talk about it. What do you mean, President Trump? I have a bill. What do you mean? Come on. Trump did not come to play with the American people or the world. I have a message for the people out there. Hello, hello. Come on in. Like, share, subscribe. Student loans. Y'all let me know in the comments, if you have student loans in the USA, if you will be impacted. Thank you, Kai. Thank you so much. Y'all let me know. Do you have student loans? Is there a student loan out there with your name on it? Do you have a student loan out there with your mama name on it? Your daddy name on it? Y'all know how people be putting stuff in other people's name. Come on in here, like this video. Trump said, listen. Listen, Linda, listen. There's 5.3 million federal student loans in default. So Cinco de Mayo is going to be real different. It's going to be real different this year. Yeah, it's going to be different. I'm going to need for y'all to come up off that money. I know y'all got plans for them margaritas. I understand. I understand. For the past 5 years, you've been able to put that money on the margaritas. You ain't paid nan student loan. You know you ain't paid no student loan. Talking about, it's on deferment. I'm about to file the forbearance. Listen, he said, Sleepy Joe, he allowed for y'all to not pay y'all bills, but it's a new day. It's a new day. He said, F around and find out if you do not pay that student loan, you will be having your check garnished and it will be hitting your credit report. Yes, this is what that man said. You think you about to go out and get you a little house, a cute little townhouse, get you a little car. Oh, you want a Tesla? Oh, okay. You finna be buying one of them toy Teslas because if you ain't paid this student loan, you ain't getting nothing. You are not getting not a dang thing that requires credit, that requires for your credit to be ran. Why? Because what's about to pop up on your credit report is them student loans. This is what he said. This is what he said. March 5th, 2025. March 5th, 2025. You need to have that money. This is what that man said, y'all. I'm not making this up. You better get into it. It's all over the news. A lot of people have student loans. And since 2020, a lot of people have not made payments towards their student loans. because they were put on pause. So pretty much underneath the entire Biden administration, you pretty much didn't have to pay your student loans. Like you just didn't have to pay them. But Trump's like, I then, I mean, whatever. I don't know what kind of time he was on, but you about to start having to pay them now or else. And he's serious, y'all. Y'all know that man. Y'all know that man be playing on business. You can call his bluff if you want to. Ask China. Ask Canada. Y'all know he stand on business. The question is, can the American people afford to pay back their student loans? Listen, on my morning car Chronicle this morning, that was a question I had. Can the American people afford to pay back their student loans? For those of you who are not paying on your student loans, excuse me, at this time, why not? Is it because you cannot afford to pay them? Or is it because you simply choose not to pay them? Where do you fall? I happen to believe that most people who are in default on their student loans are in default because they cannot afford to pay them. Yeah. I believe that most American people, their finances are tight and they do not have the means to pay towards their student loans. Like, I truly believe that. I believe that with the cost of living rising and wages not rising, it's just not enough money to pay for everything, to pay to live, to breathe, to be here. Like, it costs. Like I said before on the live, that there are so many people who basically risk it all to come to America for the American dream, to have a piece of the American pie. But what I think that they don't take into an account, or what's not really discussed, is that there's a cost associated with that. There is a cost. Like, literally, when you cross over this border, you come to America, like, it's like a bill waiting on you. It's pretty expensive to live here. It's not cheap. So you have to know that, okay, when you come over here, you got to roll your sleeves up and just get busy for the rest of your days. For most people, for the rest of their days, they are working so hard. They are working so hard. And even when they're up in age and in the retirement years, they're like, I'm tired, but I can't afford to stop because the bills are still continuing to come. I can't afford to stop. I'm 6 years old, but I got to do what I got to do because it costs to be here. Whether you are an American or you are an immigrant, an illegal immigrant, whatever it is, it's expensive. It costs. And most people who live here, it's a struggle. And they're just one check away from being outside, living in their car, staying with someone, sleeping on someone's couch. Like, this is the reality. And so when we talk about student loans and people happen to try to get caught up on them or even start paying them, it's just like, where does the extra money come from? People don't have that money to pay towards student loans, right? Especially when you have children, they have needs. There's things that they need: clothes, food. You have medical bills, gas. There was a woman I remember earlier on. I think it was right after Trump got inaugurated, and when there started being changes to the Department of Education, and some people started to see changes with their student loans, their payment plan. And there was a woman, she was a college educated woman, single parent, paying on her student loans. Her bill was maybe around 300, 350. She was paying it. It was based off of her income. That's the plan she'd been on. Well, once President Trump got in office and then things started changing, suddenly her bill jumped to like around like $900. So she's like, wait a minute, I cannot afford to pay that. It has absolutely nothing to do with me not wanting to. I simply cannot afford that. What I was able to afford was the $300 bill. I cannot afford $900. How many of you can afford a $900 bill for student loans each month on top of whatever else you have going on? Most people cannot. The average American does not have an extra $900 to pay towards a student loan bill. But the situation is a lot of people are going to be getting. Actually, here's the thing. Today I learned about a month ago. So this morning on my Car Chronicle, I talked about Cinco de Mayo, it having a new meaning this year. The first day where President Trump starts to implement these actions, implement collecting on these default student loan bills. So at that time, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not sure if on the 5th they'll start collecting or on the 5th you will get notice. But what I have learned is that last month, the Department of Education, they started sending out notices to people saying, hey, you have to start paying back your student loans, and this is the amount you have to pay. And some people, they're like, the amount of money that they were being told that they have to pay, it would be like half their paycheck, half their income. They're like, wait a minute. Because some people, depending on how, where you went to school and how many degrees you have, some people's student loans are over $1,000. Don't think that there's not people whose student loans out there that are not over $1,000. And so you have people been given, notices saying, hey, you need to start paying back your student loans and here's your bill. So people are stressed, which because they're now trying to figure out where this money is going to come from. A lot of people, they listen, they're on their Tasha K, I ain't got it. And that's the average, the most Americans. Most Americans cannot afford to pay a student loan bill upwards of $900 a month. College is expensive. Vast majority of people go to college utilizing federal funding, loans. It's just, it is what it is. And the sad part about it is that the vast majority of these people who go to school and get into debt behind these degrees, they do not come out finding jobs that even allow for them to pay back the money for those degrees. Like I said, people aren't paying their student loans back because they choose not to. They can't afford it. But when many of them, including myself, went to school and accumulated debt for the purpose of getting student loans, we had a mindset of, okay, we're going to make the money to be able to pay back the money for said loans. And that wasn't the case for a lot of people, probably most people. It wasn't the case. It was not the case. But that's not what a lot of people were told. Like that we went under the pretense that if you go to school, further your education, get these degrees, get advanced degrees, then you will benefit by being able to make a higher wage, earn more money than, say, the average American, the average person. For some people, that has been true, but for a lot of people, that has not. There are a lot of people who work multiple jobs. There are a lot of, I know professionals who are college educated, corporate jobs in the day, on the weekends or the evenings, they are doing those ride share jobs, like they're driving Lyft, Uber, Uber Eats, DoorDash. They're doing things like that. They're doing things like that because they can their paycheck, it's just not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. And this is the situation we're in. And things have been bad for a long time. Things have been bad for a very long time, which made sense as to why it was on hold. Student loans were on hold for a lot of American people because they knew that people could not afford to pay back the student loans. Remember when Biden was president, he was working on something with trying to have people's student loans forgiven. I actually know a couple of people who were able to benefit and have, and get their student loans forgiven underneath the Biden administration. It did happen for them. Uh, I don't think it happened for the vast majority of people, but there are some people who got their student loans forgiven. And here's the thing about a student loan for being forgiven. There's a program that's been, let me see, it's called the PSLF, the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. It's a program that's been around since 2007. It was started by George W. Bush. And that program said, hey, go to school, get a degree, even get an advanced degree, come out of school, work for us for 10 years, and make payments on, your student loans, whatever, based off of, whatever your situation is. And then we will forgive the rest. So you just pay on it. You just do your part for 10 years. And then we got the rest. Because the reason why the government put that out there is because they needed an incentive for people to want to work certain jobs within the government. For example, like jobs, say, within the military or other government agencies, teaching jobs, nurses, firefighters, lawyers, doctors. Because in the government, there are jobs that don't pay as much as they would, say, if you worked in like the private sector. So they're like, okay, we have to throw out an incentive for these people because people aren't going to just come and work for us for pennies if they know that they can go somewhere else and really make good money. So we're going to incentivize by saying, hey, go to school, get this advanced degree, and we'll pay for it. You just pay just a few dollars, but basically we got you. So people are signing up for that. It's still a thing. It's still a program. So what I've learned is that President Trump is looking at that program and he's trying to remove some people from it. So imagine going back to school under the pretense that your employer is going to take care of your bill if you work for them for 10 years. So you're like, all right, then bet I'll do it. I mean, since you're saying you're going to pay for it, all right, then I'll do it. Then you go do it. And then somebody else comes along and say, you know what? Yeah, I don't even know why they told you that. That was dumb. But we not doing that. It's a new sheriff in town. So yeah, on May 5th, 2025, you need to go ahead and just start paying back your student loans and take care of the rest of this bill. So that is what's going to that's happening right now, or basically what's going to happen with a lot of people. Because remember, I said May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, 2025. That is when the Trump administration is going to start aggressively collecting on student loans. So people who will choose to still not make payments on their student loans for whatever reason, they are at jeopardy of having their checks garnished and bad reportings on their credit. And the way our world is set up, at least in the USA, if your credit ain't good or decent, then you're going to have a tough life. You are going to have a tough life because in the USA, credit is everything. Like you can get credit If you got good credit, you really ain't even got to have a lot of money, because hell, you getting it on credit and you get you on your little payment plan and you just pay off whatever. So credit goes very far here in the USA. So the last thing you want to do is do something where you find yourself in a situation where your credit is messed up, and then it takes years to repair it, because you have to build up a better payment history. So a lot of people are going to find themselves in situations like that. And unfortunately, I can see it being a lot of young people who haven't even really started living their lives yet. And they're just, they're still in their 20s, haven't even gotten married yet, maybe had kids. Uh, they got out of school, still haven't found a job in their career field. They're just doing these little odd jobs. Like I said, Uber, Lyft, those little jobs, some little odd jobs. They're doing that. And they're like, yo, I can't afford to pay my student loan bill. Oh, well, it is what it is. And over time, it's going to mess them up, because when they get to a point to where they're going to want to purchase a home, uh, buy a car, the conversation is going to come up. Hey, what happened here? What's going on with your student loans? Garda said college, what a scam. Yes. Yeah. But the thing about it is, so I graduated high school at 99. So during the 90s, early 2000s, that was heavily pushed. It was pushed. Go to college. Go to college. You're going to have just a wonderful life. Like, go to college. And a lot of people did that because we were sold on the idea that it was the way to go. But so many people who have a college degree, their money looks just like that of those who do not have any college degrees. A lot of people who have college degrees, money look better than those who have college degrees. Come on, so y'all know I ain't making this ish up. How many of y'all in here said, listen, I ain't got no hell, I ain't even got a high school diploma and I'm getting to it. That I know people like that, where they got legit jobs, and they didn't even graduate high school. They got jobs. They work blue collar jobs, and some of them even got a white collar job and no high school diploma, and straight get into it. So from what I've come to learn is that college it's not a tunnel to one path for success. But I feel like at a certain point, there was a time that was what was pushed, that the only way was this way. And that wasn't true. And a lot of people fail for that, including myself, because I have a lot of education. And we later came to learn that it wasn't necessary. It wasn't necessary, but it was pushed. And as a result, a lot of people are in debt. Yes, CDLs, be real mindset. Yes, CDL drivers are making six figures, right? So I started to learn, later after I completed most of my education, where like, hey, this isn't necessarily really the way. It's been a while since I've known that it was just all a bunch of whatever, but it was kind of like after the fact. It was just after the fact. So my thing is, going to college isn't necessary. What is necessary is you having a skill in something. That is necessary. How you get that skill, there's different ways that you can go about getting it, but it's necessary for you to have a skill. So therefore you can utilize that skill, take that somewhere and, earn an income from that skill, right? So you have to figure out whatever that is. What does that look like for you? But I don't even push on my three children that it has to be college. It needs to be something that you need to learn. So, to get the skill, whether it's even like vocational school or you get some certifications, you need to become specialized in something, right? You got to learn something, but it don't necessarily have to be university and going someplace and getting a lot of debt, because a lot of things that people learn in university, you can learn independently, or you can maybe get certifications, but that's not really how it's pushed. That's not the narrative that has been pushed historically. I think now, today, in current times, you have more people who are exploring other options and not looking at college as being the only way, which I believe is a good thing. I believe it's a good thing. And then I also think that with a lot of people who have fallen behind on their debt when it comes to student loans, a lot of them have gotten frustrated and was like, man, what am I doing? Why be taking my last to pay this student loan when it's not even the degree that I went and earned isn't even doing anything to me that's allowing for me to earn an income. So I'm just going to take that money and put it towards something that's really making a difference in my life in the present time, like putting it towards rent, putting it towards my car note, putting it towards food. People are in a situation right now to where they're limited on funds, so they have to be strategic about where they're choosing to spend their money. And when it comes to student loans, it's low on the poll. It's low, it's down, it's not a priority because it's not something that has a direct impact on people's lives in real time. Over time, it impacts you because, it's on record that you didn't pay it, you fell behind, all of that. But in real time, it's not impacting your life. You see, it's really only gonna hurt you if, say, you when it comes to maybe your credit and you're wanting to purchase something and they need to run your credit and your student loans come up, like purchasing a house. Like when you're purchasing a house, if you have student loans, they have to factor that in there because they know, okay, you're going to have to pay on these student loans. So even if you're currently not paying on the student loans at the time that you're applying for a loan, they still have to factor in when you start paying on your student loans, because it's not if, it's a when. How much will that be? And then once you start making those payments, will you still be able to afford this mortgage? See, so that's when the whole student loans, it starts to impact you. But for the day to day, for a lot of people, as you're waking up, you're not feeling the impact of it. So now today, you got a lot of people who are in debt behind student loans. They haven't been feeling really the impact of not paying on it. But come March 5th, 2025, that's going to change. And there are going to be a lot of people who will now feel the impact of not paying on their student loans. This is where we are. I personally feel like the entire situation is very unfortunate because I understand why there are so many student loans that are in default. People cannot afford it. You cannot pay what you don't have, right? I truly believe that the vast majority of people, if they had it, they would pay it. Most people want to have good credit. If they're living in an environment that's centered around credit, they would choose to have good credit versus bad credit. So guess what? They would pay their bills. But a lot of people, they just don't have it. And it's very unfortunate because it's an added stressor, because you have people already who now, as we've been watching since Trump took office, who are now unemployed. They were federal workers. On my live this morning, I talked about a woman who, she was a federal worker for the Social Security Administration. She went to work one day, so back in February, right after Trump got inaugurated and started announcing that he was going to do job cuts um, in the federal government. She was a federal worker for the Social Security Administration office. She was an IT worker. She went to work one day, closed her eyes at her desk, and never opened them again. It is believed by her family and loved ones that she died of stress because it was heavily on her mind and her heart, the idea of not having a job. This woman was like 53 years old. She was 53 years old. She did have health problems. She was overweight. She had health problems. So she did have the underlying issues. But the stress on top of it just took her over. It took her out. It took her out of here. That's why I say that we have to prioritize our mental health. We have to know what we can and cannot control, because stress, you all know what stress can do. Stress can take you on out of here. It can. Some of you may know people who are no longer with us because of stress. Their body was stressed. This woman had worked for the federal government for 25 years. She was 5 years away from retirement. The people she worked with said that she was one of the best people to do what she did in her office. But she was worried about her livelihood. How many of you are now worried about your livelihood? So to already be dealing with all of that, and then to add, oh, by the way, I'm gonna need for you to start paying back those student loans. Okay, you say you ain't got it, you got to figure it out, because this loan got to be paid. You have to figure it out. What does that mean? Where is that money coming from? Like, where is it coming from? And these are thoughts that keep people up at night, that stress people out, like this woman, and it resulted in her no longer being here with us. She was stressed. Unfortunately, I think that there will be many more cases similar to that, where people will no longer be with us and it'll be rooted in stress, the stresses of the world. And they may not leave us in the manner in which she left us, but ultimately they will leave us. And it will be rooted in them no longer being able to handle the pressures of the world today, because it's a lot. I know it's a lot. I take in the news every day, multiple times a day, because I come out on my channel. Sheik Speaks on it. Welcome. Like, share, subscribe, become a member. I now have memberships, $2.99, become a member. I speak on the things that are going on in this world. And I speak on them to bring awareness and to help you understand what these things mean, so you know how to maneuver, so you know how to navigate. Because it's a lot going on, and I get it. I know that it can do a lot on the psyche. And if you don't figure out how to manage that stress, it can take you down. It can break you down. And unfortunately, the woman who's no longer with us, her name was Monique Lockett. She was 53, from Maryland. Unfortunately, she did not